1981, La Leche League had established a working relationship with the World Health Organization as a non-government organization and was influential in the drawing up of the International Code regarding the marketing of breast milk substitutes. In the 50s, when La Leche League began, the few mothers who breastfed usually began to wean their babies after only a few months. Encouraged by Dr. Radner and Dr. White, the La Leche League mothers began totally breastfeeding their babies for the first 6 months. One La Leche League mother asked her physician why he had suggested she start her baby on cereal at 4 months of age, since she would prefer to give only breast milk for the first 6 months. The physician replied that he had told her that only because he thought that is what she wanted to do. Only mother's milk for the first 6 months was fine, he conceded. Reassured by Drs. Radner and White that it was a fine thing to do, the La Leche League mothers began to keep on breastfeeding their babies after they became toddlers. The mothers became adept at discreetly nursing their babies in public so that few knew what they were doing. Slowly, La Leche League made inroads on the bottle feeding culture, and after many years, the medical academies began to catch up. La Leche League now had grown from the original small group into an international organization which for more than 50 years has served mothers, first in the western suburbs of Chicago, then throughout the United States, and eventually in more than 60 other countries. To the women who, with their organizational skills, began and ran the league belongs the credit. Encouraging them through the years were Dr. Radner and Dr. White. By daring to be medically countercultural, Physicians Guild members Dr. Radner and Dr. White contributed to the resurgence of breastfeeding in the 20th century and contributed also to a public awareness of alternatives to the usual perinatal experience. Thank you. I would be glad to answer questions if I'm able, and I was thinking to be heard, you had better come up here and take this microphone. Did it fall off me? Okay.
We have a white child here. Were you one of the pioneering infants?
Yeah, the anesthesia still hasn't worn off.
We've always wondered.
I was the first one. I was the failure.
Failed at everything. Failed at natural childbirth and failed at breastfeeding.
You turned out all right. We'll gloss over that.
When I left the Navy, they classified people leaving the Navy as A, B, or C. And A meant that you could go anywhere in the world if you wanted to make it medical school. I chose Loyola because it was a Catholic medical school, unique in so many ways, at least on paper. When I arrived at Loyola, I found that really the difference between Loyola and other Catholic and other medical schools was Dr. Herbert Radner, who was, I'm proud to say, my mentor. And the things that I learned from Dr. Radner were things that didn't appear in the textbooks. I think the principal one was the love of nature and the recognition that nature was at work in every healing process.